President Xi Jinping says China is ready to work with Russia to resolutely defend the rights and interests of the two nations. Ocean Empire congee chain shuts down all restaurants after 33 years, facing claims of at least $3 million in unpaid wages. And black smoke at the Vatican signals the voting for a new pope is inconclusive after a third ballot of the conclave. Good evening. You're watching Cable News. I'm Evelyn Bai. President Xi Jinping stressed that in the face of unilateralism and hegemonic bullying, China and Russia will work together to promote a fairer, multipolar world. His remarks came as he met with Russian President Vladimir Putin during his state visit to Russia. Both nations are set to ink an array of agreements. Jeremy Zhu reports.
Xi arrived in Moscow the previous day and traveled to the Kremlin in the morning. Upon entering, he shook hands with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin before attending a welcome ceremony featuring a military band playing the Chinese national anthem. Xi greeted Russian officials individually, while Putin shook hands with Chinese representatives, including Politburo Standing Committee member Tai Chi and Foreign Minister Wang Yi. The two leaders then led their delegations in a small-scale meeting, where Putin called Xi a dear friend and expressed his readiness to visit China again. Xi highlighted the deepening China-Russia ties as a testament to generations of friendship and a commitment to fairness and global governance reform. He also expressed pleasure in visiting Russia again to attend Friday's 80th anniversary celebrations of Russia's victory in the Great Patriotic War. During a broader meeting, Xi reaffirmed China's commitment to economic growth and strategic cooperation with Russia. Meanwhile, Putin noted Russia has become a major importer of Chinese automobiles and that energy is an important part of the cooperation between the two countries, adding that both sides will launch new joint initiatives and welcome China's technology transfers. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
Ocean Empire Food Shop, a 33-year-old congee chain, has announced its closure of all its 7 locations, adding to the growing list of business shutdowns in the city. The Federation of Trade Unions has received requests for assistance from around 100 employees, with over 10% being imported labor, with a total amount claimed to $3 to $4 million. Jeremy Zhu has more details.
The food chain's Wanchai branch has shuttered with its interior dark and locked and the furniture neatly left in place. The Meifu branch also had its metal gate down, though its sign remained lit. Employees arrived after receiving closure notices, expressing confusion and frustration. I got the notice on Wednesday night and came to check. I feel lost, said this worker. Some staff visited the Labor Department, alleging unpaid mandatory Provident Fund contributions and accusing the company of avoiding compensation by pushing claims onto the government. This employee said she is very unhappy. They clearly earned enough to pay our wages, but now they're making us wait for months while the government handles it. At the company's Fortan office and food factory, no staff were present. A supplier demanded over $100,000 in unpaid debts, while union officials investigated the scene. In a letter sent to employees last night, the company cited financial struggles, announcing full closure and voluntary liquidation. Staff were told to claim unpaid wages and severance via the Labor Department. Established in 1992, Ocean Empire was Hong Kong's first congee chain, once boasting 30 branches. It had closed 5 outlets in 8 months before this shutdown. Last year, its Wanchai branch faced a rent lawsuit and launched a $10 congee buffet promotion to attract customers. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
The National Security Department has detained the cousin and cousin-in-law of exiled actor and opposition activist Zhou Tei for questioning, sources said. Kun Ting Yang reports.
The pair was taken from their full-time residence this morning and later released after assisting with an investigation linked to Zhou Tai, who has been wanted by authorities since last December over alleged secessionist activities. Tai, a former Hong Kong entertainer, now based in Canada, faces a $1 million bounty for charges of inciting secession and colluding with foreign forces. Authorities accuse him of operating the Hong Konger station YouTube channel between July 2020 and June 2024, where he allegedly posted videos advocating Hong Kong separation and called for foreign sanctions against Chinese and Hong Kong officials. The 59-year-old, who fled the city in 2020, is still active in Canada's political circle and recently campaigned as a Conservative Party candidate in Toronto's Don Valley North district, but lost. Tai is among 6 high-profile fugitives wanted under national security law, including Chong Kim-wah, former deputy executive director of the Hong Kong Public Opinion Research Institute, whose relatives have also been taken away for questioning. Kun Qingyang, Cable News.
Greenfield English Kindergarten has announced the closure of 2 more campuses in Olympian City and Tongchong, bringing the city's total kindergarten closures this academic year to 17. Jeremy Zhu tells us more.
The affected branches will operate normally until their July 31st shutdown. This education group previously operated 6 campuses, with 2 already closed earlier. In a letter to parents, school management cited Hong Kong's persistently low birth rate as the primary reason for the decision.
I'm not able to see my teacher anymore.
So what do you feel?
I feel a little bit nervous.
Why?
Because I know I love my teacher so much.
The girl's father expressed understanding of the situation, noting that many families have emigrated and birth rates keep falling. And on top of that, because these private schools receive no government funding, they charge high tuition fees. Recent statistics reveal the scale of the challenge facing Hong Kong's kindergarten sector. Student enrollment has plummeted from 174,000 in 2019 to just 136,000 in 2023, while the total number of kindergartens has fallen to 980 this academic year. The Education Bureau said while 17 kindergartens closed this year, 3 new applications are being processed. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
The Legislative Council passed a Public Health and Municipal Services Amendment Bill, raising fines for water seepage in buildings and water dripping from air conditioners, problems defined as long-standing issues in the city. Under the revised regulations, penalty levels for non-compliance with the government's notices or court orders for fixing these problems within a specific period will be increased up to $50,000 with a daily fine of $600. The bill also proposed to extend the period of entering premises for investigations from the current period between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. to between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. Meanwhile, the fines for proliferation of pests, accumulation of miscellaneous articles in public places, and displaying posters without permission will also be raised. The time allowed for removing illegally placed items has been shortened from 4 hours to no less than 30 minutes. The Food and Environmental Hygiene Department will have the power to demand that businesses immediately remove obstructing items without needing police involvement. The proposed changes are set to take effect 3 months after the amendment bill is gazetted. Black smoke has billowed for a second time today from the Sistine Chapel chimney in Vatican, signaling the College of Cardinals had again failed to elect a successor to late Pope Francis during the second day of the conclave. Kun Qingyang reports.
The 133 cardinal electors sequestered in Vatican City since yesterday remain deadlocked after 3 inconclusive ballots, with no candidate securing the required 2/3 majority of 89 votes. The morning's voting followed an unexpectedly prolonged first round yesterday evening, which saw black smoke emerge nearly 4 hours after the conclave began. Crowds continue swelling in St. Peter's Square as voting will resume local time afternoon, with 2 additional ballots, or 1 if a pope is elected earlier. If no consensus is reached, the process could extend for days, though Vatican sources suggest a result may emerge by the weekend. The frontrunners include Pietro Parolin, the Vatican Secretary of State, who is widely known for brokering a landmark deal with Beijing in 2018, allowing both the government and church to jointly appoint bishops, and Italian Cardinal Matteo Zuppi, that advocates the church's need to improve its outreach to the LGBTQ community. Kun Qingya, Cable News.
U.S. President Donald Trump has announced he will unveil his administration's first major trade deal tonight Hong Kong time, likely with the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, Trump reiterated he will not reduce tariffs as a concession in trade talks with China. Jeremy Zhu tells us more.
Speaking in the Oval Office, President Trump ruled out lowering the 145% tariffs on Chinese goods to facilitate negotiations.
Are you open to pulling back your tariffs in order to get China to the negotiating table?
No.
China said the U.S. initiated the trade talks this weekend and that its position hasn't changed. Are you still confident you can reach a deal with China?
They said we initiated? Well, I think they ought to go back and study their files.
The comments came as Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng prepares to meet U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent in Switzerland on Saturday, leading discussions as Beijing's top economic negotiator. A Chinese embassy spokesperson stressed the talks were held at Washington's request, and Beijing insists China will never compromise its principles or international fairness for an agreement. Meanwhile, Trump has paused plans for global reciprocal tariffs and is now negotiating with multiple nations. On social media, he teased an imminent major trade deal with a highly respected country, the first of several expected agreements. The New York Times identifies the UK as the partner, noting current U.S. tariffs of 10% on general UK imports and 25% on cars, steel, and aluminium. UK trade officials are reportedly in Washington discussing terms, including reduced U.S. steel and auto tariffs in exchange for lower British duties on American agricultural and automotive exports. The deal may also remove taxes on U.S. tech firms. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
In line with market expectations, the Federal Reserve left interest rates unchanged after anticipating higher risks of rising inflation and unemployment. For the third straight meeting, the federal funds rate remained at a range of 4.25% to 4.5%. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell stressed to wait for greater clarity before considering any adjustments to the interest rates.
If the large increases in tariffs that have been announced are sustained, they're likely to generate a rise in inflation, a slowdown in economic growth, and an increase in unemployment. The thing is, we don't know that. There's so much uncertainty about the scale, scope, timing, and persistence of the tariffs.
In response to President Donald Trump's repeated public calls for rate cuts, the Fed chair noted they did not play a role in its decisions.
We're going to use our tools to foster maximum employment and price stability for the benefit of the American people. We're always going to consider only the economic data, the outlook, the balance of risks, and that's it. That's all we're going to consider. So it really doesn't affect either our job or the way we do it.
The decision left markets divided, with some expecting the Fed to cut rates by July, while others predict no reductions until 2026, unless the economy slips into recession. The city's foreign currency reserve assets fell slightly to $408.7 billion at the end of April, signaling solid market conditions. Marking a drop of 0.9% from March, the official foreign currency reserve assets stood at $408.7 billion at end April, down $3.8 billion over the previous month, according to the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. The total reserves represent over 5 times the currency in circulation, or about 36% of Hong Kong dollar M3, which includes the broadest Hong Kong dollar deposits in the city. Now let's take a look at the stock markets. The Hang Seng Index ended the day up 84 points. Top added stocks of the day. Checker Fund was up 10 cents. Alibaba was up 20 cents. Meituan was up $2.40. Li Auto was up $5. Foreign exchange against the Hong Kong dollar: Canadian dollar 5.59, Australian dollar 4.98. Onto the weather now. Mainly overcast with a few showers. Hot with sunny intervals during the day tomorrow. Expect some thunderstorms later. Temperatures will range between 26 and 31 degrees. Moderate to fresh southeasterly winds. That's our news tonight. I'm Evelyn Bai. Thanks for watching and good night.